Hey, it's me again. Following up from yesterday's video in response to some comments. Yes, Rachel, I'm talking about your request. Um, because in the video yesterday, I was talking about men and women being different and the imbalances there. But that was a sideways response to an earlier post I was responding to about, and let's get into the names, men supporting Trump despite his apparent flagrant disrespect, disregard, and delusion about women. And I'm going to say his names because, frankly, I'm not about the politics here, I'm about the behavior and the people. So let me speak from this place of being a man who does not support any man who's like that. I saw a post yesterday that Jeff Sessions, who's the Republican, he's representative from Alabama, who simply said in shorter terms that he doesn't see how touching a woman's genitalia can be classified as sexual harassment. As I posted back, it's like, how would you like it if, well, I should have changed it, but I said, how would you like it if a woman grabbed your balls and dick and you said that wasn't sexual harassment? Someone else said, well, the problem is that he probably enjoyed it too much. I'm like, oh crap, yeah, you're right. So if a guy grabs his dick and balls, especially a gay guy, that would push it even further. Would he then decide it was sexual harassment? And this is the point. This is one of the points I want to talk about, because I mentioned in the previous video that this comes to the same heading as bullying and domination and control, because that's what it comes down to. This is not about respect. It's not about, even to be honest, appreciation. It's about control. And unfortunately, women have suffered from the receiving end of men wanting to control them in more ways than one. And frankly, I'd like it to stop. I mean, like, yeah, right, that's going to make a difference. But the thing is, my videos and my talks and my messages are getting out there more. So maybe I'm having an impact, certainly amongst the women, hopefully among the men too. So let me address the women first. Ladies, my work, my service, my mission is serving you to help you become stronger, more feminine, more powerful in the world, especially in relationships, but I'm realizing more and more it extends beyond that to life itself. That you get to be free, fully expressing who you are, and be honored and respected for that. I'll get back to that in detail in a moment. I'll switch to the men for a second. Gentlemen, I like to think you might be gentlemen. That's something I talk about too in my work. Men, when you demean a woman, and yeah, it's been bandied about on different shows about how it could be someone's mother, daughter, sister, wife. When you demean any woman, it shows your lack of humanity, it shows your lack of gentlemanly conduct, it shows your lack of respect. So I ask you men out there who are watching this, if you're not doing this already, which I trust many of you are, that you respect women by looking at them through the eyes of a caring sibling or son or father versus a lech, which some men out there are doing, I know. And I've done it myself, so I'm not saying I'm immune to this, but I've done a lot of growth. Some easy, some painful over the last few years. So I'm noticing things that I've noticed. There are things I've noticed that speak to this more as well as a societal thing, societal pattern behavior. Someone posted a comment about how it's strange how women's razors and deodorants cost far more than men's do. And I'm thinking, well, aren't the ingredients pretty similar? Yes, they're supposed to make them more soft and pink and tender for women. Doesn't give the companies an excuse to make them more expensive. So it's that insidious, the difference between men and women and respect for men and women that's out there. That some things that are out there for women, I mean, a friend of mine told me this recently, how apparently, I didn't know this because it's not my area of knowledge, that she said women's clothing is built and created so flimsily so that it basically wears out, doesn't last. And I'm thinking, men's clothes generally last pretty well, so maybe there is, I don't know for sure, a difference in the garment industry between the quality of products produced, not the variety, but because that's a whole different story, but the quality of products produced for men versus for women. I didn't even consider that before, but apparently that's another one of those reminders that women are not, sorry, see the photo differently, respected or appreciated the same as men are. And it's got to stop. I mean, I know it's going to become a soapbox. Well, these videos are a soapbox for me to speak about how women are. It's time. And I'm referring back to articles I read yesterday because I've been doing research on this. That somebody posted a comment, and I don't remember who it was. It wasn't a Facebook friend. It was a journalist who said that people like Trump and Sessions need to look out, because he said the fourth wave of feminine women is coming, or is at hand. Now, I don't know what he said about it exactly. I just saw a headline, but my interpretation of that, and this is what I've talked about before, is that women are coming into the fourth phase of ownership of themselves and their role in the world. So, ladies, if you understand this, maybe it makes sense to you. First wave was the suffragette movement, where women got the right to vote. Because before that, women really were second class. They weren't allowed to vote, they didn't have a voice, they didn't have roles. And men thought, oh, that was easy, take care of it, we can run the show, we don't need women to do that. That's the simpler way of saying it. Unfortunately, that mindset's still running amongst men, which is what I'm trying to talk about changing. The second wave was women's sexual revolution, the big movement in the 60s. There was really a blend of sexual revolution and the feminist movement, which unfortunately I believe was somewhat mislabeled, because most of the feminists that were radical then were militant, and they're actually being more masculine or more male than the men were. So it wasn't necessarily serving the feminine expression that women have so innately within them. The third wave was, or is, the goddess movement that's been running for about maybe 10 years now. Very quietly, but it's becoming more visible now. And it's beautiful, I love it. I learned about the masculine and feminine polarity in league with the goddess movement. So I have no judgments except this. The goddess movement, which has been happening a lot, is that women are learning how to own their softness, which is wonderful. The way they're doing it largely is circles and groups of women who get together in sisterhood. Again, amazing, wonderful stuff. And it's about them in a lot of ways letting go of the structure, the frame that men have created, that they've copied and emulated for the last 50 years. But some goddess teachings out there seem to be centered upon women dancing around the beach barefoot in silks, which is very sexy, and veils and stuff. But it's not necessarily most effective in the world. It can be effective in their relationships, because when I work with women in my coaching, they're learning to soften in relationship, to be more feminine, to let the man take care of them, the one that honors and respects them as a gentleman, not the men I've been talking about. But there's more. And I've been coining this phrase, and somebody else told me this, and I used it myself, that there's another level coming, and the generic term I'm using is the priestess. And it is an archetype, not necessarily a behavioral difference. But what I define it as is, and it may be what I think is the fourth wave, women owning their power in the world that is infinite. And I told you yesterday about how in the masculine and the feminine, some of the differences include the masculine is more about the emptiness of death, the conscious and presence of being here and being complete. Whereas the feminine is about life itself, the power and the force of life, movement, energy, the planet. That's the power of the feminine. So the priestess movement, if I can coin that phrase, is for women to really own their power. Own your power, ladies. There's this, I'll come back to that in a second, this expression that they have of owning their power, which means that they have much more sway in the world, more power in the world, more influence in the world, and more action in the world. From a feminine sisterhood, cooperation, collaborative strength that is something that the men have forgotten how to do, largely. Thankfully, there's some masculine teachings out there that are about brotherhood and collaboration, which I like a lot. The thing about this fourth wave, is that the bullshit games that are going on, yes, bullshit games that Trump, Sessions, and other people are doing, are expressing, which is it's a behavior that's cultural, maybe even multicultural, but it's a pattern that has been running for too many generations. It's what I was stuck in 30 years ago, and switched out about 10 years ago as I learned the lesson, that men demean, disrespect, and don't get how much their negativity in fact impacts women and it hurts them. Because men don't tend to understand. I mean, we men have generally more toughened hearts or more protected hearts because that's the way we were raised. So we don't necessarily feel as much as women do innately. Maybe it's time we do. Yeah, there's a change. Change is definitely coming, and in some ways, what's happening with the election, and I'm not going to speak about politics as much as I am saying about the paradigms. If Clinton gets in, she's the first woman president, and so many women are anchored in that, and I understand it. However, most women in politics, except perhaps for Michelle Obama and maybe Elizabeth Warren, and maybe a couple others out there too, most women out in the political frame are emulating the men. They're not in their feminine. They're copying the men, the way they do things. And like if Michelle Obama ran for office, she's a much more feminine presence, my perception. Not that she's running for that. So that's one thing. And she is establishment. She is the traditions of the government, which is not necessarily good or bad, depending on how you view it. I'm not going to get into that. I'm just talking about the more blatant differences. If Trump gets in, the misogyny that he carries, the bullying that he carries, the arrogance and the juvenile way of being that he carries are not the qualities I would look for in a leader of a freaking toy store, let alone the government. And maybe it's an interesting contrast that we go from this extreme, to be honest, statesman, intelligent, articulate speaker like Obama, again, about the politics, about what he can do, to someone who's the opposite of that. I mean, Bush Jr. wasn't exactly the most articulate statesman there was either. So maybe it's a pendulum swing we're dealing with. So maybe that's why Trump has to get in. Oh my God, I said it. Maybe he's got to get in and show how extreme negatively we become. These are philosophical questions, not political votes, because I'm not voting on either one of them, to be honest. Well, I can't, because I'm not a citizen yet. I've been a resident for 35 years, but never bothered to become a citizen because I didn't feel the call to get involved in the political system. But as a witness and observer and an interested party, I hope this gives you some pause for thought. I hope this is of value to you. This is it's an interesting time we're living in. I reflect back on England because what's going on there has been with the Brexit movement and all the falling apart that's happening there with the new Prime Minister and with the fact that they have Boris Johnson, who in some ways is the English version of Trump. Sorry, Boris, but you are. Has been put in as the Foreign Secretary, which is the same thing as Hillary Clinton's job over here, which is the State Department. And as Foreign Secretary, he interfaces with all the other countries. His speeches and comments and articles have demeaned and insulted pretty much every other country on the planet. Now he's England's interface with them. Oh, joy. So you think you've got problems here? England's got problems too. But I would say the same thing's going on with him too. He has a brash, bullyish arrogance about, I'm fine, I'm right, and everything else. And this is one of the things that men are dealing with, I think, more and more lately, because some men are waking up to this. Especially the straight white male. In the world, women, minorities, homosexual, transgender, all these different groups of people have been consistently told there was something wrong with them, which has made them feel less than and also made them feel that they need to do something about it. Bear with me, I'm making a point here, not about that, but about this part. The straight white male has always been told they were perfect, which is not true, actually. No different from anybody else. So the straight white male, particularly the good old boy network, is going to, as I say in England, going to come a cropper soon. It's going to come a cropper big time, because the world is not reflecting back to them their perfection they think they have. It's an illusion, a delusional illusion, to be honest, that we men have mostly, especially, again, straight white male who didn't have any disabilities or mental issues, who were basically normal, in quotes, were the model, the defined perfection, you know, the generic statement of that versus the Aryan race that Hitler had. So we have been carried along with this false sense of perfection, that we didn't need to do anything, and that everyone else wasn't perfect, so we were better than them. And that's one of the reasons it's caused the inequalities in the world, because this belief runs deep inside our DNA. And it's something that I think, well, I know it has to change, and is changing slowly. So women out there who are watching this, again, as a reminder, you are as perfect, if you want to call it that, as the men are. You're as whole, as unique, as divine, as good as and different than men. Someone commented on my post yesterday about when I said that women are better than men. I was speaking more to the fact that it's maybe women's turn to run the planet. That was what I didn't say, but that's what I meant, and I meant the comment, and I understand his point that women, I like to say you're better than us, because based on results, what we've done to the planet hasn't shown us to be that good. But the truth is, we can shine too when we men step into our masculine, into our hearts, into our purpose and mission and value, versus my way, the highway, my ego, my bullyishness. Then we can excel. But most men aren't doing that. So to get back to the initial point, which I wanted to answer again, just reflect on that. This expose of Trump's demeaning, disrespectful, and disgusting behavior towards women that I really don't have any respect for at all, or anybody like that, is a symptom. A symptom that for some men out there is much more subtle, but for some men is blatant, like Jeff Sessions, for example. And it's the people in the spotlight, be it politics, be it head of corporations, be it movie, film, musicians, stars. It becomes more overt and more obvious because we see them in the limelight. But don't think that your neighbor down the street or your ex-boyfriend or your family member might not carry the same energetic. So this may be a time for education and to wake men up as a place of, for compassion. And for women to not stop taking it, because basically that's part of the puzzle, is that women have, sorry ladies, you've allowed it to happen in some ways. Not saying it's a responsibility, please let me finish this thought before you jump on that. You've been trained by the men, by society, that you don't have a right to speak, for ways to step up. And with what happened with Brock Taylor, with his ridiculously small punishment for what he did to that college girl. It's a massively messed up system. So men were at fault for not stopping insanity as well. We men can be way showers for other men. We men can be guides for other men to respect the women around us, our mothers, our sisters, our daughters, our friends, our partners, our wives, and become an indicator, a guide for change, a guide for equality and differently, because women and women are different, so you can't really compare them as equals. We're different, but equal respected. Yeah, equal respect, that's what works. That's our homework, men. And ladies, invite your men to watch this and to also do the same thing, to respect. You deserve it. It's way overdue. And so do the men. So I'm not saying that men don't need respect. But let's have the men respected for being gentlemen, for being honorable, for being respectful. Don't respect their abusive behavior. Trump, Sessions and other people like that, I do not respect that at all, and I hope you don't either. So regardless of what you're going to vote for, just know this country's got work to do on all levels. All right. This video went way longer than I planned, but I wanted to talk about this more and start this point out. So, your thoughts? Please comment below. And again, if you want to find out more about me, go and check out my website, which is barrysilby.com. I'll post it in the corner so you can see it. And yeah, please comment on this video. Share it out if you want. I'm starting a conversation, or I'm continuing a conversation. I'm part of the conversation. You can be too. All right, signing off. I'll see you later. Reminders I do on most of my videos now is to love more today than you did yesterday. It will change your life. Bye.